Hola, ¿cómo están, mis compañeros? I have been hearing this word folks being used so much to describe large groups of adults. I don't like it. I feel like it's replacing the words men and women, the words ladies and gentlemen. I know, I'm just a theorist. Let me go into this a little bit. The word folk, it can trace its Proto-Germanic, trace its origins to its Proto-Germanic pluka, and pluka can trace all the way back to play, to fill, and also the Latin plebes. So folks, the word folks can trace its roots all the way back to the Latin plebes, plebeians, commoners, the common folk. I go down here and look at these definitions they have for folk, and they seem definitely very, very derogatory. They don't seem as if they're meant for anybody of status. Folk, people in general, often used in the plural. Folks around here drink moonshine. They're just country folk. Synonym, common people. And then the next definition, folks, a social division of usually pre-literate people. A tribe. Folk, people descended from a common ancestor. Folk, the traditional and typical and anonymous music that is expression of live people in the community. So folks traces its roots all the way back to plebes, the commoners. I was interested in how often we have used this word as a society, and so I went to the Google Ngram and I was able to see that in 1964, the year that we signed the civil rights legislation that not one single Democrat signed up for or voted for, 1964, you can see right around there is the lowest usage of the word folks in the common vernacular. I really think that this is attributed to the civil rights movement in and of itself. The civil rights movement was the restoration of dignity back to the American common man, back to the black American man, the black American woman. We were allowed to be men, and women were allowed to be women. It was a time where maturity was taking root, and where we weren't pointing fingers of blame, but we were taking accountability and responsibility for ourselves. The civil rights legislation demanded that each person have the right to be accountable for himself. Each man, each woman have the right to be accountable for themselves. And then I see this graph right here, and I notice that throughout my life, we have slowly been increasing this usage of the word folks. And if I were to contrast that against what I just said, we would slowly be coming from a point of responsibility into a point of blame, a point of immaturity. And I think it's immaturity as is expressed by our inability to demand that we are allowed to be men and women are allowed to be women. I feel as if they're using folks now in order to create this genderless dystopia. They're using the word folks when they should be saying ladies and gentlemen. They're using the word folks when they should be saying men and women. We are not black folks or white folks or Latin folks. We are men and women. Thanks for listening.